Hey guys, it's Raul again, coming to you today to bring you my first ever Top 5 Wednesday. So I've always been meaning to participate in Top 5 Wednesday. I watch a lot of people do Top 5 Wednesday every single week and have always wanted to do it and I kind of never really had time, so I'm finally jumping in to the Top 5 Wednesday bandwagon. The topic for this week is Top 5 Underrated Books. I know I've done a video on underrated books before, but this was probably like a year and a half ago, so I have a bunch of other books that I consider to be underrated that I want to go ahead and share with you today. Now, number 5 on my list is The Dinner by Herman Koch. This is an adult literary fiction thriller kind of book about these two couples that go to dinner and have to kind of solve this event or the situation that's happening with their two kids. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. I really enjoyed this one. This is one of those books that doesn't get too much praise. I know Goodreads, the reviews aren't the greatest. Like, there's a lot of 2 and 3 star like reviews for this book, which I don't know why, because I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It builds the tension really, really well and kind of slowly reveals to you kind of the mystery of what's going on with these two kids and what their parents are going to do about the situation. And it really deals a lot with the topic of what parents would do in like these extreme circumstances to protect their children and protect themselves, and what people think of them as parents because of the things that their children do. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Number 4 on my list is We All Looked Up by Tommy Wallach. This is a YA kind of pre-apocalyptic story about this meteor that is coming down to Earth and is threatening all life on Earth. And these 5 teenagers dealing with the uncertainty of not knowing whether they're going to live through this or not, and their like stories, how they intertwine and everything. I thought it was fantastic. This is another book that doesn't get the greatest praise. Like, I've seen kind of mixed reviews on this one, but another one that I absolutely loved. I loved the kind of emotion and the character growth and development and everything through this one. So this is definitely one that I think is a little underrated, but I really, really enjoyed. The next one that I have on my list is kind of an author in general, but that is Mindy McGinnis, and this one being A Band is So Discreet, because I think this is my favorite one of hers that I've read so far, but Mindy McGinnis doesn't get as much love as she should. This book is a kind of historical mystery of this man and this girl that kind of come together to solve this mystery about the serial killer and try to figure out who it is. It's set in the 1800s, which I absolutely love. I love the writing and the imagery, and Mindy McGinnis, I feel, does an amazing job at writing, like, in general. Like, she's written post-apocalyptic before, she's written, I think her most recent one is contemporary, and then this one, which is historical, and I absolutely love her. Like, Mindy McGinnis is definitely an author that, in the midst of all of the different authors that are out there, is definitely kind of kept under the radar, and yeah, I think she needs more love. I loved this book. I loved Mindy McGinnis' writing, and that is why I had to make my list. Number 2 on this list is The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. This is the book that I think more people know about, but I don't think as many people have read it because I haven't really seen a lot of people really actually read this book, but I loved it. This is a fantasy series that follows a lot of diverse characters and everything, and it's set in kind of a Latin American kind of culture and world, and I absolutely loved it. I've talked about it on my channel before, but it's amazing, amazing. I connected with these characters so well. I loved this story and this world and kind of how Ray Carson was able to kind of beautifully tell this story within this trilogy. I absolutely adored it. I loved the romance, and yeah, and the action, everything was so intriguing. The political kind of intrigue within it and everything was awesome also. And number 1 on my list is one that's probably going to come to no surprise if you have been watching my channel for the last 6 months or so. You guys are probably going to get tired of me mentioning this book in video after video after video, but that is Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman. This is probably my favorite fantasy, like YA fantasy series currently out there. I absolutely adored this one, and this is one that definitely doesn't get as much hype as it should. There's so many different fantasy authors out there, Sarah J. Maas, Leigh Bardugo, Morgan Rhodes, and everything that are getting a lot of attention, and they definitely deserve that attention because they do write, you know, great YA fantasy. But Eleanor Herman, I feel, deserves way more attention than what she gets. I think she is an absolutely brilliant writer. She's a historian, so a lot of the stuff in here is kind of historically accurate from what I've heard. It's an YA reimagining of Alexander the Great and everything in his story, which I'm not super familiar with the story of Alexander the Great, but like I said, a lot of people that have read this book have actually said that it's definitely historically accurate. So I really enjoyed this one. I love Eleanor Herman. I've read the first 2 books in the series and adore it. Like I said, it is definitely my favorite currently running YA fantasy series that I am reading. I love this one, and it definitely deserves more love and more hype, because I definitely think Eleanor Herman and this series is definitely underrated, and that is why I had to make the top spot on this list. So yeah, guys, that is it for the books for the Top 5 Wednesday for this week. Comment down below and let me know what your favorite underrated books are, if you guys have read any of the books that I have mentioned here today. Thank you guys all again for watching, and I will see you all next time.